Now BMW does not sell any type of a rebuild kit for these, like any type of the rotors or pressure springs. If I don't rebuild them, then I take them apart, I clean them, I inspect the rotor, inspect the covers and so forth, and then assemble them. If I need to stone the covers because of scoring or markings, I'll go ahead and do that and then reassemble everything back and send it out. So what we've gone ahead and done here is that I've already removed the bolts from the top here and the back side, and I've released the cover. So we've got the top cover removed, right? So if you guys can take a look here, when I say about the scoring or the marks, you can see right here, right? I've got my fingernail going across these things, across the aluminum here, and it's very, I can definitely feel it. I can definitely feel right here as well. So this is creating a high and low, or a passage for oil to bypass and to ineffectively reduce your oil pressure. So on this cover, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead, I've got a 1000 stoning block. I'm going to go ahead and stone this cover because there's no gasket sealant in between here. It's just a metal to metal fit. So I'm going to go ahead and do a nice flat stone, remove all the high spots, and that'll be the first part of this inspection type of clean and inspect. Okay, this is really not a rebuild, but it's just a clean and inspect and make sure when this oil pump goes out to someone who's put an engine apart, they don't have any problems. You usually have oil pressure control spring. BMW does not identify these, so we don't. I'm not going to replace it because I can't order the springs individually. I'm going to go ahead and take out all the rotor vanes and inspect all the surfaces, all the inner diameter. Make sure there's no heavy scoring. Take this out, inspect the bottom, make sure there's no heavy scoring. So you guys can see there's a lot of milky oil stuff inside of there. You guys can see on the side there, there's some, looks like there's some remnants. Doesn't appear to be, maybe a little bit of metal, maybe bearing metal. Okay, so this is why I take these apart, because you don't want to make sure, you want to make sure there's no contaminants, that there's no scoring or anything like that. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, we're gonna just get this all cleaned up, and then we're gonna inspect everything. All right, so we've gone ahead and cleaned up the oil pump assembly housing, the rotor, the impellers, the external housing, all the springs, the cover. Everything has been cleaned. So now we start with our inspection. So the first part is we look down at the bottom here, right here, to see if there's any heavy rubbing marks from this when it's inside here. And this looks pretty good. This looks like original machine surface, no kind of grooving like what we see right here, right? So you can see all the grooving that's happening right here, here, and so forth. So inside here looks good. Then we take a look at the rotor. The housing looks pretty good. I'm not going to remove it because I can pretty much do a good inspection of this the way it is. No damages, no type of scoring or anything like that. Still got its original polished surface. Okay, so you guys can take a better look at that. I'll get the light over here. You can see the surface still pretty good. Okay, so this is pretty good here. I'm not gonna do anything with this here. This surface is pretty good here. What I am gonna do is I'm just gonna make sure that my air passages are clear. Right, so you've got an air passage that right here that comes out right, so you guys can see here, right there. Okay, that's clear. All comes in right here through the pickup tube. Comes in here through the pickup tube. Comes inside the housing. The rotor compresses the oil. All compresses and then pushes, and you get your high pressure oil that comes out right here. Okay, so I always like to make sure everything is clear. My rotor, I can turn it by hand. That's good. Okay, now the next part here is this surface here. I'm not going to put this back together with this type of scoring. So what I'm going to do, this is water. Got a sanding block. We're just going to do a stoning, a light stoning. Look at that. You still have minor scoring on there, but you can't get that off. So we'll leave that. We got the high spot off where it mates. Next thing we're gonna do, want to inspect the rotor or the housing. Don't know sure exactly what you call this, but this is rotor impeller housing. Impeller housing external, where it mates to inside here. This is very good condition. And also the impellers. Let me make sure it doesn't fall out. Want to make sure once these are installed that they're able to fully rotate and flex. Okay. And these should go up and down without having to here. Sure you can slide it. Okay, that's good. Also want to inspect the housing. This is a plastic piece, no damages. This is pretty good. Inspect your spring, make sure there's no damages. There's not really a value, but just feel the spring. BMW doesn't give you part numbers for replacement parts, so just inspect it, make sure it looks good. Same thing with these two. This is the one. This is the most important spring in my opinion. These are what controls your pressure. So what I've done, I've just gone ahead and installed the housing. I've got 2 alignment marks. I'm going to go ahead and align those 2. Then we're going to go ahead and put this in. gone ahead and installed this. See, this rotates very freely inside there. We're going to go ahead and add a little bit of oil. Okay. We're going to coat the inside of the housing with some oil. Same thing on this one here. Solar rotor, align our aligning marks. Make sure this freely spins inside here. Put back our alignment marks. Now we're going to start to install our impellers. Now, let's take a look at this here. It's very important when you install the impellers. Do you see the this side right here? This side right here has to be installed along the flat of the impeller housing. You see you've got a flat here, so this section here that points out to the impeller has to be installed in that direction. It's very important, okay? Here we go. All impellers installed in the right direction. We have our alignment marks on our rotor and our impeller housing. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, rotate this. Can't do it with one hand, guys, sorry. Okay, so let's continue the reassembly of the oil pump. So last we recall, we installed the impeller, the impeller rotor housing and the plastic housing around the impeller housing. Don't know if that's the correct nomenclature, but that's kind of what I'm calling it. You guys can leave a comment and let me know. Get any advice, post it down in the comments. Okay, so next thing we're going to go ahead and do and install our ball, our spring, lubricate our pressure relief spring. I call this our pressure relief spring in here. This is what I like to call a pressure relief valve. So you've got the bypass here that goes into here. There we go. Next thing, we're going to need to get this spring into there. This is going to be a little bit difficult, but let's go ahead and give it a try and see. All right, so in order to get these two springs in, what we're gonna have to do here is I'm gonna have to slide out the housing here a little bit, and then install the spring into there, install the base plate. Then I'm gonna push this in, and then I'm gonna install the other spring here. Again, wear your safety glasses. This is a spring. It will fly up, so just be very careful about that. Okay, that's good. Let's get the other spring in here. Bring this up just a little bit more. Okay, let's get this up. Okay, we gotta get this one more spring inside here. It's been a little difficult. There we go. Okay, that's installed. This is nice and free, lubricated, moves up and down, no binding. Our cover. We'll lubricate that. Okay. We'll install our cover now. Bring this down evenly. screws in the back. I am going to run these in with an electric impact, but I'm not going to tighten them with it. Alright, so our pump is fully sealed. I just have to torque my screws now. For that, I'm going to go ahead and just put a gear onto the front here. You can hear the suction as it rotates. This is good to go. Let's get this torqued down. Now there's no torque spec because there's pump is BMW published no torque spec because the pump are not supposed to be disassembled. So 1000, 1200, 1200, 1200. We'll flip this. Okay. There we have it. Pump disassembled, cleaned, inspected, ready to be installed.